Hello everyone, so this is part two of, let me just get something to hold this up. Maybe start the video again. Okay, we'll just keep it going. This is part two of the video about what I disagree with Don Bennett. And I think where we got to in the last video was the whole idea that the soil has depleted. What soil, we don't know. Where, when, how, no information about what. No need to explain any of that. But just the soil has depleted. There's no nutrition in it. There's no mineral. Where's that nutrition gone? No one knows. But apparently it's all disappeared. All these elements have just disappeared. They're no longer in planet Earth. So that's interesting. But the soil is depleted. This has led to the food being nutritionally subpar, and this means that if you do a raw vegan diet, you need to have some kind of supplementation to make sure you get all of your nutrients. And none of that has any science behind it. None of it has any proof. There's no evidence for any part of that at all. Not one part of that at all. But we're meant to, because Don says it, we're meant to take this as being science, because he would never say something without having science behind it, supposedly. So what's really sad to me is that someone put a comment up on Instagram recently and they said, oh, what I learned from the Woodstock Festival from Don Bennett and Ann Osborne is the soil is so bad now, and you need to make sure you get daily green boost to, I don't think Ann would have said that, but Don would have said that, to make sure you're getting enough. And it's a real shame to me. Like, if that's the one thing you're learning out of the Woodstock Fruit Festival, then it just shows that the level of their education has just dropped so much that they've just fallen into promoting conspiracy theory ideas, which is really sad. And let's go through that thing, because it is just the conspiracy propaganda nonsense from the pharmaceutical industry, which Don kind of claims to not to be against, and he's always talking about how much money they've got and how they can put out all this or put out this junk science or whatever. Well, that's fair enough, but Don doesn't seem to worry about that when it comes to the supplement side of things. So this is something that goes back 100 years. This sales pitch, it's a sales pitch. It's not scientific information. Everyone is now disconnected from the food they get, so it's very easy to scare people and make them believe that farmers and government and all these things, they're all bad and they're all for profit. And why for profit means bad instantly, I don't know. For profit really means that they have to make a quality product, and they have to make something that people continue to want to buy, and they have to serve it to them in a good way, and all the rest of it. It's not really as evil a thing as people think. Maybe when it gets to massive corporations it's a different thing, but for small farmers trying to sell their produce to the distributors who sell it to the supermarkets or however it works, they're not really it's not really the same thing as massive companies taking people to court, taking smaller companies to court to try and drain them of their resources and then buy them out and take them over and selling their products underpriced to try and drive people out of the marketplace. Like, bigger companies can do all sorts of nasty things, but small farmers don't really have the power to do that. They have to rely on making a good quality product. They do that by looking after the land and understanding how to farm. They're not dumb. They're not stupid people. If they were, they wouldn't continue to grow food. The food itself wouldn't grow if the soil was nutritionally subpar. That is the bottom line. End of story. The food itself would not grow. So the fact that farmers know what they're doing, understand how land and soil works, take care of it, the idea that that's not happening is just silly. It's just propaganda. But the propaganda starts from that position. The farmers are bad, everyone's bad, the soil, and they've just let the soil fall apart. Well, you're talking really about maybe huge monocrops of like wheat and barley and soy and rice and whatever. You're talking about these massive monocrops, nothing to do with fruits and vegetables. Uh, it's a totally different thing. We're talking about the stuff that's used to feed animals. Yes, have they destroyed some land in some places? I believe it has. I believe it has. There are farms that have where the soil has been damaged and things like that from that kind of intensive farming. But that's not really related to fruit orchards and vegetable farms. It's not really the same thing. I'm not sure if you've ever been past fruit orchards and vegetable farms. It's not, the soil is not like a dust bowl. It's like trees, it's vegetables in the land in one field. They move it around, It's just basic farming stuff. So I don't know where these ideas come from, but I'm pretty sure it's from people that are looking to sell supplements to people, essentially. Supplements are a complete waste of time. And what I mean by that is supplement products like multivitamins and powders and potions and remedies, all these things, all magical stuff. They're all a waste of time. And it's for people who can't be bothered eating fruits and vegetables to give them the belief that they're actually eating some nutrition. That's where the sale comes in. We scare people by telling them you need to get your vitamins. Their natural response is, well, I should eat more vegetables. And then you say, no, the vegetables don't have any nutrition left in them anymore. You have to buy this supplement. Where did that supplement come from? It came from vegetables. But I thought the vegetables didn't have any. No, don't go deeper into this. We just buy the supplement, right? Don't think about this. We don't want you to think. So that's what people aren't getting as well. The soil that the vegetables are coming from is different to the soil the supplements is coming from. Okay, it's different soil, not the same. That soil hasn't been depleted, but the rest of the soil has been. And once you start breaking this down, people like Don are on very, very shaky ground because they don't have anything to back what they're saying up with. Nothing. There is no science. However, if you were to Google this idea of soil depletion and leading to less nutrients in the food, which has never been proven, and there's no connection, and even the soil depletion thing hasn't been proven. You will find some studies, you will find some articles, some will be in some good resources and stuff, and you might even look at different composition tables from different years if you want to do stuff like that, and you might see differences and changes. The problem is that these studies are so there's so many flaws in them, there's so many problems in them. For example, literally they're sometimes taking food from different geographic areas, so of course nutrition is going to be different. They're using imported food versus food that is grown in a local area. There's going to be differences there. Another thing that is a genuine difference is that different varieties are used. So if you use different varieties of a particular food, there's going to be different levels of nutrients. Now, one of the things that has happened is that more of the varieties now are bigger and higher in carbohydrate. So you take a variety like that and you compare it to a different variety back then it'll be different. And actually it's higher in nutrition because it's higher in carbohydrate, and it's higher in water, and it's higher in fibre. So nutrition has actually went up. The important part of nutrition, the macronutrients, carbohydrate, the things that fuel people and keep human beings alive. Now, in response to that particular variety might have lower levels of other nutrients. But the benefit of more food, more carbohydrate, more fuel for people, keeping people alive, outweighs the small difference of a tiny drop in other nutrients, and that drop being because of the size, not because there's no nutrition in the soil. There's no connection there. That's never been proven. And when we actually test the soil, if you test the soil from the same region from back then to now, the difference is not being seen. This difference of the soil is depleted in nutrients. It's not being seen. I can put a link below for, there's articles and there's things you can find and there's little studies, but go to the experts. What are they saying? Go past that. Not the article in the newspaper. What is the expert saying? What's the person that's going to analyse all this saying? And a friend of mine said, oh, we don't need the expert analysis. No, you do. You need to understand these things because a lot of you aren't. So, if someone goes, oh, the level of coppers went down. Okay, the level of copper went down by a percentage. There's still a lot of copper in that food. There's still enough copper as long as you eat fruits and vegetables. The level of carbohydrate went up, so the nutrition has went up. So that's a bit confusing. They're focusing on things that have went down, even though they've not went down to a point that would be dangerous. And it's to do with the variety. It's not to do with the soil. It's to do with different cultivars, different sizes, the different appetites of people. And that's what's funny as well, is that people think, I ate food from someone's garden one time and it was so delicious and there was obviously so much more nutrients in it. No, there was more sugar in it. You can't taste all these different nutrients. Don't try and pretend. I can give you bad food from someone's garden as well. I can give you terrible, terrible food from someone's garden. You don't know, you can't tell there's any more or less nutrition in it. So people have these weird ideas that their taste buds are able to tell them like the entire nutrition profile of a particular food. No, it's really telling you about the carbohydrate, how much sugar's in it. And if the sugar in it drops, oh my god, it doesn't taste good anymore. That's what people always say. They're always like, oh, I had this food, it was tasteless, it was watery, it was from the local supermarket. Yeah, it didn't have any sugar in it. That's it. So anyhow, moving on. That's the main thing, is unfortunately peddling this idea. It goes back 100 years. The supplement companies have been using that lie. The medicine, what do you call them? The snake oil salesman. That's the same thing they said. That's the same things these guys were saying. They worked it out a long time ago. And it really started to flourish when people stopped being connected to the growing process of their food. So it's easy to make them believe, those people growing your food, they're trying to poison you, they're evil, So it's kind of unfortunate that people like Don buy into these nonsense notions without looking at the basic science on it, like without taking a little bit of time and then providing me with no evidence whenever I ask for it. Whenever I've asked for it, he just says, well, I know a guy called Don Weaver, he's a world expert and he told me. Like, is that your science, Don? Don Weaver, some guy that's not an expert at all? Like, nowhere can you find anything saying Don Weaver is an expert on soil health. Just a guy that wrote a book, maybe. No qualifications, no major position, no studies done, just a guy. And it's nice to get an opinion, but that's what I would prefer different people to say. They have an opinion. So the opinion is wrong, but they have an opinion, and we're happy for people to have their colourful ideas as long as they're happy to admit, I have no science behind this. This is an opinion that I've made up. And that's fine. Daily Green Boost itself has absolutely nothing on their website to say that they are a healthy product, that they've got no studies behind it, that green powders are good for people, that green barley juice powder is something that helps people, that nothing to prove it. So they're just a small company. They've got a green powder from somewhere and they sell it in things, and a lot of raw vegan people have been buying into it. and it's called placebo effect. If someone tells you something is full of nutrition and it's going to make a difference for you, and you believe it, and then you take it, then it makes a difference for you. It's just placebo effect. In order to prove it's not, you have to have a study controlling for the placebo effect. Daily Green Boost don't have that. As far as I can see, there's almost no studies on any vitamin supplement, green powders making any difference. So the issue here is let's get to supplement. So Daily Green Boost is just another product. You can, if you want to have that stuff, maybe it gives you a nice flavour or you like the green colour. It's not doing anything for you. So don't believe that it will. You should be eating fruits and vegetables if you want nutrition. So what else are we going to go into here? There's a few things that Don has said over the years. Another one that he said is about chromium. A lack of chromium leads to melon belly. That's something that's quite well known now. This idea is kind of spread around. People know it in the raw vegan community that melon belly is chromium deficiency. I have no idea where Don get that from. I've no idea where he made that up from. Obviously no science behind it, but we're starting to realise that unfortunately Don's idea of science is he used it with his clients and some of them had a good effect. I know plenty of people that took chromium supplement that didn't have any effect. So that's, you know, I don't know. I mean, melon belly to me is just people eat really fast. Certain foods, they eat fast and they get gas, and that trapped gas, it puts a pressure on the nerves in this area that go up to the shoulders, and it causes a little bit of pain short term. That's melon belly. It goes away in like 10 minutes. Why would it only happen with certain foods? If there was really something with chromium deficiency affecting glucose absorption, it should happen with any food that has glucose in it, and it doesn't. It just happens with melon and a few others, and it happens to people more earlier, like if they wake up in the morning and eat melon. And the fact that it goes away and then you eat more melon and it doesn't happen again, I don't understand how this is anything to do with chromium deficiency. But Don loves to talk about deficiencies, loves labelling things deficiency, and loves to tell everyone that the fruits and vegetables don't have any nutrition in them. So chromium, I don't know where that came from. It's just another idea he's put out there that people have bought into. People love to believe in these deficiencies. Like, no one wants the simple answer. You just ate too fast. Slow down. So you're not as sensitive with your body as you thought. You know, you have to be aware of that. Supplement in terms of, look, no, one thing, I'm not against supplementation. Vegans are suggested to supplement B12. I've not personally done that. I'm not telling you not to do that. But vegans generally are told they should take B12 to get the kind of recommended amount, and that's fine. Vitamin D, I believe, if you're in the northern regions, you're kind of suggested to take that as well, maybe. But going further beyond that, a lot of this stuff goes into medical issues, and I think that's kind of dangerous to go down a path of playing doctor and analysing people's blood work and telling them that they should take more of this or more of that, or, you know, it gets a bit dangerous. We don't really know what the person's background is, medical history. Why are they not absorbing a particular nutrient? Is it that they don't absorb it? Is it they're not consuming it? There's a lot of kind of complex stuff there, and it's not solved by taking a multivitamin or taking Daily Green Boost. And if someone comes to you and they are not well, and you make an assumption, it's because of, they're definitely raw vegan, 100% they're raw vegan, because they've told me they're raw vegan, so they're definitely raw vegan, and it must be that they're eating nutritionally subpar foods, so I'll recommend that they take some supplementation and everything will be fine. That's really negligent, incredibly negligent, because we have no idea why that person was unwell. And if someone comes to you with a real underlying issue and you make that assumption, then that person might not, for example, go and get tested for other things that they might legitimately have, because you've told them that their issue is deficiency. Now, deficiency in general is something that doesn't happen in the modern world, just doesn't happen. And when it did happen, it was happening because people weren't eating fruits and vegetables. It wasn't happening because of a fruit and vegetable diet. So, I don't know, I mean, to me, Don's science or his opinion is based on his experience. Whereas my experience of meeting the people who are actually raw vegan, who I actually know are raw vegan, who have actually been around, is that in terms of supplementation, some of them have definitely taken B12, and that's really it. I think some might have taken vitamin D, but they don't really worry that much about supplementation. They don't worry that much about it. Some of them want to live in better parts of the world, getting better quality fruit and things like that. I really don't think that's a big issue. I think you're getting amazing quality fruit in your local shop. It's just not processed food, and people are so used to eating processed food all the time. They think that food should be like so high in flavour. It's not going to be. If you're still eating salt, your avocados are not going to taste as good. When you eat them without salt. If you're still eating sugar, obviously your fruit's not going to taste as good. So when you get off all of that stuff for a long time, then you really enjoy these flavours, and they're really intense flavours. So the food is better quality than it ever has been, for sure. Like, the idea that you want to go back and eat the stuff 40, 50 years ago is nonsense. It wasn't better, and the idea it was better is silly. We've got no way to compare that. And maybe someone's memory, the food used to be really good. Like, how do we even know their memory is accurate, you know? So, and there was less carbohydrate in the food then, so it was less sweet, so it probably didn't taste as good. So, I just, it's the main thing I disagree with. I think that Don goes into really troublesome ground where he starts talking about cancer and a few other things. I don't really think that we should be messing too much with telling people that have cancer to go down a kind of natural remedy route. I don't think that's a good idea. And Don has a whole thing about the real cures of cancer have been suppressed. Like, this is a major conspiracy theory thing. The idea that all these natural cures have been suppressed. Propaganda put out by different groups that have an interest in selling products once again, or selling their cancer centre, like the Gerson, which I think is about $25,000 if you feel like going there. There was a girl that raised some money years ago. She came to Woodstock. She had cancer. She didn't do anything about it. Her cancer developed. She died in the Gerson Institute. And I don't know, maybe if she'd actually went the medical route, maybe she'd be alive today. So that's why that's why I'm not going to go out there and say, oh, you should try vitamin C therapy and all these things. And Don claims there's no, that this has all been suppressed. Like, to me, that's a really dangerous idea, that you're going to promote that. So those are all the things, but the main thing is that Don is not, he doesn't realise he's doing a disservice to the movement by making everyone think fruits and vegetables are deficient. Well, what's the point in eating them then, What's the point in doing this diet? Why not just do the other diet, because clearly that was better. And he has the nonsense idea that the previous diet, because it's fortified, gives people everything they need. What? Are you kidding that you believe that, Don? Really? So I don't believe in a lot of these ideas. I think that he's not the best proponent of the lifestyle because of that. And he should focus on bringing more people in rather than scaring everyone that there's not enough nutrition in their food. So thank you for watching the video. Please leave your comments and questions below. Have to stop now because I'm running out.